Hey everybody, this is Smooth Dude here back with a brand new video. Now, as you can see, it's been a bit, but I kept the format from the live stream to make a pre-recorded video. And we're gonna stick with this style until I can improve upon it, but for right now this is satisfactory. I got my webcam and all that, as I don't have a script for these videos, but that's okay. Today's video is a top 10 ultimate DLC pick because they said they're doing more characters, and this is kind of like my channel's bread and butter. So why not make this for fun and get it out of my mind? You know, instead of procrastinating my schoolwork, I could procrastinate on my schoolwork while being more productive at the same time. So you know what? Let's make a video. And before we get started, I'd like to say that I don't know if we'll actually get 10 more characters or if there will be a theme with these. I'm going under the presumption that yes, we'll get like 2 more seasons of DLC and they'll work like the Fighters Pass where they're different IPs of some kind. So the easiest way to go around this was having all guest characters still. We'll probably get more Nintendo characters, but like, you know, have fun at least. I like the theme of having guest characters, to be honest. I know a lot of people want Nintendo characters, but like, you know, this makes it more unpredictable. And on top of it, my picks for this list are not entirely what I want, but they are picks that I think should be considered more. I mean, some are pretty mainstream, but otherwise, I wanted to go a little bit more outside the box with these picks and discuss various characters that I think I at least would find interesting, because it's a matter of gameplay variety. I feel like Ultimate's kind of lacking with gameplay variety, and I might do a separate video about this. But what I mean by gameplay variety is like a lot of characters have pretty similar-ish attributes. Think of, say, K. Rool and Incineroar basically having very similar movesets, except K. Rool has armor, but they have like the same moveset, which is kind of weird, and they're both super heavy, so I feel like the theme should be more of characters being actually unique in certain situations. I mean, Hero does a pretty good job with that. I feel like the DLC overall does a pretty good job with that, and I want to see that continue. So, with that in mind, these are the characters I feel like will fulfill that role even better. So, yeah, let's get started. Excuse me. So the first character I picked is Ryu Hayabusa, as you can see. You know, Ninja Gaiden's a legacy IP and all that, but I feel like he's like the typical ninja character, or Hero's a typical JRPG character, and like Ninja Gaiden, you know, it's a pretty popular IP. But not only that, it's that Koei Tecmo's relationship with Nintendo is kind of like top notch. Like they work a lot together to make like all the Dynasty Warrior games and all that. And I feel like, you know, they're also making Persona, so you know, they're easy to work with, and I'm betting that they'll at least get some representation at some point. So Ryu Hayabusa has the legacy to back up a Smash character pick, and a lot of people agree and want him. So, you know, it's kind of like Simon. I went with using his modern design just for him to stand out more from Sheik, because they both kind of have like the blue garb going on, at least for the NES design. Though I'm betting they'll have the classic design just as an alternate costume at least. Other than that, his moveset's pretty self-explanatory. You can rip off kind of Simon Richter in some way, having his sub-weapons for special moves, and he'd be pretty straightforward. And, you know, Sheik with the sword, you know, it's at least pretty interesting. Though, you should probably differentiate him from Greninja more, but that's definitely doable, like having his wall playing or wall running. He'd be pretty unique. So the next character, number 2, we're not going down, we're going up from 1 to 10, boys. Yeah, make sure you subscribe to this quality content. Crash Bandicoot. This is another pretty mainstream, obvious pick. I'm kind of hesitant to include Crash, actually, because for one, he kind of play like Incineroar, except like faster. Or at least he's very similar structurally to Incineroar. Where like, oh, he has a spin, and he could do like drop kicks and belly flops. Like that just fits his physique for one. And like Aku Aku's basically like Wonder Wing. But I think you can work around this more. I think you can work around this stuff to make Crash unique. Where like all of his special moves would be crates, and like he can get random items from crates, which would be pretty degenerate. But I feel like it would be the type of thing Sakurai would do. It's like, oh, we can give him an Aku crate that he can level up, and then he can get temporary invincibility if he properly levels up Aku Aku without getting hit, like in the games. Or how like you could have a TNT crate or a bounce crate for recovery, and then just give him a bunch of spinny, twistery attacks. You know, get it, Crash Bandicoot twisted. Don't get it twisted. That was a horrible joke. So I feel like Crash is pretty likely, and he's pretty popular. You know, solid choice. I keep looking around the place. Don't worry about that. I'm actually looking at desktop just to make sure I don't accidentally like click on something I'm not supposed to. I'm also in a public area, so like, and this place echoes, so I'm like, I could hear basically every little thing around me, and it's kind of distracting if you have a short attention span like I'm doing right now. So, 10-minute mark. Next character, Phoenix Wright. So Phoenix Wright, I feel there was actually I think it was a GameFAQs leak or something Vergebin said. I don't remember, where they wanted to get Ryu Hayabusa, Crash, and Phoenix Wright. But I feel like I don't think that's true per se. I think Phoenix Wright is one of those types of characters that has like a legacy in gaming, and that would be super unique. Like, if you think about it, we have Rathalos as a Monster Hunter rep, because Monster Hunter, you know them for the monsters. Like, they put Rathalos in Final Fantasy XIV for that reason too. So like, you don't actually play as the Monster Hunter per se, but they could also it could work. Then they made the Resident Evil character Spirits, which I personally wanted a Resident Evil character, but it just didn't happen. Which, if they're gonna do more crossover events like this, that's fine. But I still feel like Capcom should get another representative. Which I don't think where the character comes from matters, but I'm just thinking, they'll probably get more a Capcom character because they just have like this wide pool of characters to use. And the only viable options are Phoenix Wright and Dante, in my opinion, for viable Capcom characters. So I feel like one of them will get in at some point. I'm just not in camera right now. There we go. I picked Phoenix Wright because I think it adds more gameplay variety, especially how he worked in UMVC 3, which I think, while Dante would be really cool and like a very Sakurai pick, I picked another character that would also work. I mean, not work like Dante, but kind of fits his physique. So I feel like Phoenix Wright would just overall be more unique in the roster. So that works for gameplay variety, and that's really the theme I'm going with here. Next character. Okay. Cosmos. Yes, this is the other Monolith rep I'm picking. She is owned by Bandai Namco, so this is when they're going to re-add all the other Bandai Namco costumes. And I picked Cosmos because of Monolith being owned by Nintendo, and they care about Cosmos very much so that they put her in Xenoblade 2 and all that. And Rex kind of missed out in Smash Ultimate, or at least in the Fighter's Pass. So I feel like the next best option that isn't a new protagonist, because we just don't have that information right now. We just don't know. It's Cosmos because of her legacy as like Monolith's mascot character, you know? It's kind of like how Bandai has Pac-Man for his arcade roots and their mascot. I feel like Monolith really cares about Cosmos representing Monolith themselves, and that the archetype of having a dual-wielding machine gun android lady, that sounds cool. And it introduced Xenosaga and Monolith's other IPs, I feel. So you know what? Cosmos works more so as a legacy pick, kind of like Terry, and I could just see it happening. She was in Project Cross Zone, so you know, crossovers are nothing new with Bandai. It works out nicely. So yeah, I think Cosmos is pretty likely, actually. I don't know if she'll get in this Fighter's Pass, but definitely down the line. They could just, you know, throw her in there and it works out. Taking breathers, because this is not going to be edited. I'll probably make a thumbnail for this, but that's alright. Otherwise, my next character, if I don't lose where I am, I keep losing track, is Steve. So I don't think Steve is actually that likely as I used to, but again, Minecraft is such a popular legacy franchise that like you can literally throw in a generic player avatar from Minecraft, kind of like you did for the hero from Dragon Quest, and it would not be a terrible idea. And I feel like Minecraft's aesthetic is so unique and so representative of its time that there's like, it would kind of be weird if Minecraft doesn't get represented. I mean, he's kind of one of those picks where I could see him as a Mii costume. It's probably more likely, but you can do some really creative stuff with this character, I feel, where he doesn't exactly emote, but you could pull so much from Minecraft that would just make him look very unfitting, and it would just be it'd be kind of funny actually to see just like Steve run up to Rathalos or something. And like, I don't see any other circumstance where they could put in like a creeper or something, because, you know, why would you? So I think Steve as a character, and then you can have Steve, Alex as alternate costumes of each other, and then you can have the different armor sets also as alternates, because I think having an armor mechanic is a bit excessive, where you could just make Steve a pretty chunky boy and then justify his chunkiness as, oh, he could wear armor in his alternate costumes, so you can streamline that a bit. And you can give him his different weapons. I talked about this in my stream a little bit at the very end, that you can make a super simplified Steve moveset while keeping the core attributes of Minecraft. So I feel like Steve will be representative of a more modern era in gaming. So some people would not be happy with it, but like, it's like with any character, like if you hate a character, you're gonna like them and probably buy them once Sakurai develops them. It's like, I don't think like people really didn't want Ridley in Smash for his size, then like everyone doesn't care now, so probably something like that will happen regardless. Take a brief intermission. I saw in the audio that just killed the mic, and I'm sorry for that. Taking a brief intermission to make that sweet YouTube ad revenue. I keep moving my shoulders back and forth. I'm really bored. So the next character, Arl Naja from Puyo Puyo, and this is one of those weirder picks. I know Source Gaming likes this pick quite a bit, but I think Puyo Puyo has the legacy in Japan, kind of like Dragon Quest, and it's a different genre in gaming, so you know, more gameplay variety is the goal.
So, Puyo, very iconic, kind of like the slime. Puyo puzzle franchise. We only have like Dr. Mario, and Dr. Mario World kind of sucks. And I personally am a huge Sega fanboy, so I love Puyo. I grew up with Dr. Robotnik's Meat Bean Machine, so I feel like a Puyo rep, especially when they crossed over with Tetris recently, makes a lot of sense. And Arl is pretty unique, originating from a JRPG, so she could wield magic and Puyo blobs to attack. So, get Puyo in there. I'd be very happy, actually, especially with the music they could remix. Or at least I hope they remix some. Sega doesn't really do many remixes. It's kind of like Square Enix, except not as stingy. But I'm hoping that we get some kind of Puyo rep, so the main character, Arl, makes sense. Next character, moving on. I'm going to do this now every time I say moving on. Someone can make a gif of this. Next character is Frogger. So I think Konami might get another character because they're pretty easy to work with. And personally, I would have gone with Bill Riser from Contra, but Contra Robot, no, for one. You could just make Bill a Gunner Me costume. And while I would say a Contra rep makes sense, sorry about that. Well, a Contra rep does make sense. We have too many, human guys, generic human dudes. We have Simon, Link, Snake, all the Fire Emblem characters, Terry, the hero, the Street Fighter characters. So I feel like, in terms of Konami-wise, they still have a variety of characters. And Bomberman's already in the Sys Trophy. I would have put Bomberman in a heartbeat, to be honest, but dang. So I went with the next best pick that has a legacy, that with Frogger, having another arcade legacy character in there would make sense. And would feel kind of awkward putting in Q*bert, so I feel like you can be pretty creative and true to Frogger's character if you have a vehicle that would randomly show up and just run over Frogger or something. Or you can give him attributes from his 3D platformers. And he'd be a pretty fun yet simple character. Pac-Man's actually kind of weird and zany, but I feel like Frogger should be a pretty easy pick up and play character and have the basic attributes of a frog. High jumping speed, he hops around for his run. Pretty long frog legs so that he can kick around. He does some kicks or whacks him with the briefcase and sticks out his tongue for a command grab. He'd be pretty interesting, actually. And a legacy character that not many people brought up. I mean, some people brought him up recently, but I feel like he would definitely fit as an unexpected character that people just adore. And that's why I picked Frogger, basically. Next character, Professor Layton. So this one's also kind of unexpected. Yes, I think Professor Layton deserves to be playable, actually. And I would say he could piggyback Phoenix Wright, but it's kind of how they pick characters. It's unique personality, unique franchises, gaming worlds, relationships with the company. The stars kind of align for Professor Layton to actually be a front runner. We're level 5, super prominent company in Japan. Professor Layton's second party to Nintendo in Japan, has a long legacy of games, has a unique personality, another puzzle rep with a unique, all that stuff. So he would just work as one of those niche picks, but again, not that niche. There's a strain of hair on the top of my head and it looks funny. I'm getting distracted. So overall, Professor Layton works. He just works. I mean, he could be a Mii costume, but like that'd be lame. So next pick. Yes. All right. So I know Travis. This might be a bit of a knee-jerk reaction, but I feel like Travis is in that predicament, that position Bayonetta was last game, where like he's slowly turning into a Nintendo character, and Nintendo's like publishing all his games, and like, oh, Suda and Sakurai are friends. He always begs him to put Travis in. So I think at some point Sakurai would be a pretty nice dude. Throw a bone to Suda51, put Travis when he's like actually relevant again. Again, he could be a Mii costume, but I feel like this is kind of like that compensation for Dante I was talking about, where like you could have a very stylish sword character that has some combos and that he can regenerate his sword. It'd be pretty interesting. And No More Heroes is pretty unique as a franchise, and it is a continuing franchise. So you know what, Travis, I give the okay as a front runner. Just makes sense overall. I mean, it doesn't have to happen immediately, so I don't think he'll be the next character, but I wouldn't be surprised if he is, basically. Yes, I do breathe. Don't mind me breathing. That's 9 characters, right? Excellent. So the last character is pretty obvious. Y'all saw it coming. Geno. This character is inevitable. I would be very surprised if he isn't in the game at this point, because, man, I wouldn't be surprised if he's the next announcement, because, my goodness, I'm surprised he wasn't in the base game, to be honest. It's just like we have everyone else. We really have everyone else people have always wanted in Smash except Geno. And it's like, I haven't even beat Mario RPG, but I have played as Mallow and Geno, gotten to that point in the story. And like right off the bat, he does leave a pretty good first impression. And he would be pretty cool as a Smash character. So everyone expects it at this point. It's kind of like when Banjo, like close to Banjo's release, everyone kind of foresaw that happening. And I feel like Geno's in that position too, where like, oh, there's no way you can't have everyone is here without Geno. Like it would be very disappointing if he isn't in the game at this point. So you know what? He's kind of like that best for last character, Overall, these are my picks. If you prefer other characters, or if you think I'm stupid, comment below. How many characters do you think we're getting? Just keep the discussion going. Hopefully I can make more videos, though I'm pre-recording a lot of these well in advance, so any new information can pop up at any second. So yeah, see you guys later.